All right, welcome everybody to the Teach Election Special. It's 2024, meaning we're going to be deciding the next president of the United States, and this is also the only time we're going to talk about politics on the Teach podcast because, well, Diamond D, politics suck, don't they?
Yeah, of course.
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most, 1 being the least, how excited are you for this election season to finally be over?
10,
Why?
because I'm sick of hearing about it.
I would concur and exactly agree with you on that.
Even though I don't really pay attention to it, but
Do you think that we would get along more as a country if people just didn't pay as much attention to it and live their lives?
yeah, yeah, 100%. But there's got to be some people out there paying attention to it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, to an
But
extent, you want to stay informed
yeah,
just because that creates a scary, but if you're uninformed, but you don't want it to like control your lives, and it feels like
exactly.
recently it's been controlling a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, that's how it's been for a while.
It's been basically our entire lifetimes
Mm,
for the most part, except for when we were like real young.
yeah,
Um, All right then. Well, what we're gonna do is we're just going to briefly go over this little fancy schmancy election map, where we're gonna predict who's gonna win each state. Kamala Harris, a Democrat nominee, is gonna be represented by blue, and Trump, the Republican, is gonna be represented by red. And we're just gonna go through and based off the Electoral College, predict who we think is gonna win the election, just going state by state. Not so much analyzing states because, as per usual, most states are already decided, besides maybe like 10, and the rest are coin tosses. And obviously, we won't know anything until election day actually happens. But for the most part, we're just going to run through these, maybe talk about the issues that some people care about. But for the most part, most things are already decided. Diamond D, what issues do you think are going to be key in voters' minds when they go and cast their votes either on Tuesday or for early voting?
um, abortion,
Yeah,
the border crisis,
yeah.
and who they like more or who they hate more.
You,
Yeah.
you think a good portion of people are just going into the polls saying, I don't like this candidate as much as the other, so I'm voting for the other?
I think that's how it was last election, but
Yeah.
I
Safe.
think I don't know.
Yeah,
It's definitely like that last election.
safe to say
It's
that.
less like that. I think it's gonna be less like that this time if there's still people out there who will like vote against Trump just because they hate the guy.
I mean, that's kind of how modern politics is, though. Is like, unfortunately, we haven't put up like a truly great leader that you can vote for just on the basis of they're going to be a good leader. For the most part, people are hate voting. I hope we see a day. I mean, I hope this election is, like you said, a little more logic and reasoning based when people decide who they vote for. But it's hard to see that being the case with how easily controversies are drummed up with this
Yeah,
social media and all this other crap, and people put themselves in information tunnels where they never see a differing opinion. So it's bad. But anyways, yeah, Trump represented by red, Harris represented by blue. I would say we go off poll data, but for the most part, poll data isn't the most reliable thing in the world. So just going off past trends, and then on this map, you can do like lean a certain way, but there's no use in that. We're just gonna do red. It's going to Trump. Blue. It's going to Harris. Does that sound good?
mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So let's start just by doing the states that are locks, which are most of them. So what color do I do if I click this? All right, it becomes red. All right. So Washington, Oregon, Cali. Like we already know that's going to Harris. Do you see those going any other way?
No, honestly,
Same with Hawaii. Same
I don't
same.
really pay attention to like I mean, I just kind of know like the biggest states where they lean,
Yeah.
like
Same
Cali,
with
Texas, Florida.
same with Colorado. Minnesota they always call a swing state, but it pretty much goes Democrat all the time. I can't remember like it even went there was a year where Ronald Reagan beat Walter Mondale 49 states to 1 and Minnesota voted for Mondale and they were the only ones. I think there's been like a long streak of them. Illinois is going Democrat. And then a lot of these New England states, so like DC, DC's not a state, but Northeast, Maryland, Delaware, Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York, Vermont, and then Maine. Maine and Nebraska will kind of address those first because they're pretty consistent too. So Maine and Nebraska don't do winner take all for electoral votes. What they do is they kind of have two that represent the entire state, and then the rest are districts. So typically, and they kind of behave opposite. So Maine has two districts, and then the state. So for the most part, Democrats usually win Maine, and then there's like a urban area, which is like Portland, Maine, that usually goes Democrat too, and then there's the rural area, which usually goes Republican, and then Nebraska's kind of the opposite, where the state usually goes Republican. There's a district that goes, and I'm not sure which one is which. There's two districts that go Republican, and then there's one that goes Democrat. That's typically how things go with, and like I said, I don't know which district number is which, but that's typically how those two states go. Then for Trump, he's winning Alaska, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, the Dakotas, South Dakota, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. Whoops, I forgot Utah. He's winning Utah, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana. Basically all the southern states, minus Georgia and North Carolina. Indiana and Ohio are going Republican. West Virginia is going. Oh, I forgot to do Virginia. Virginia's probably going Democrat. And I think that's it. Yeah, so those are just the gimmies. Those are the ones that we pretty much already know are going one way. The only one on there that's kind of maybe a little iffy is Missouri, just because Missouri's been shifting a little bit more Democrat recently. But other than that, for the most part, these states are locks. And, that's the crazy part about the elections. Like, they campaign so hard, spend all this money, and really the election comes down to one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 states. New Hampshire, I don't really count. It's been an interesting development because New Hampshire is usually strongly blue, but just because last election Trump like barely lost New Hampshire, keeping it a swing state for now. Diamond D, you think it still swings towards Harris this election?
I mean, probably it's the Northeast, so
Probably is the Northeast. All right, so we'll give it to Harris just out of it. Probably goes that way. So all things being considered, with the gimmies, how we know those electoral votes are already going. Uh, Kamala Harris 221, Trump 219, and you need 270 to win the election. So the rest of the states remaining are the true swing states: Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada. Diamond D, what are your outlooks for those states?
um, I don't know. I mean, I would think Georgia's going to be Republican,
Mm-hmm.
and then Pennsylvania. I don't know. I think it'd be Republican as well.
You think Pennsylvania's going Republican this time around?
Yeah,
It's
were
kind
they
of
Democrat last time?
it's kind of weird because normally Pennsylvania, these four states, or really these three, it's like a weird trend where every year they all vote the same way, or every election cycle. It's just kind of an odd thing. I'm not sure why that is. Do you have any theories?
I mean, honestly, I don't. But I mean, just being in Pennsylvania right now, I feel like there's been. I don't know. I just see a lot of Trump stuff. So
Yeah. Um. So it's interesting because if I were to fill in a state that I think Trump's got in the bag too, then it's basically already decided because you need 270 to win. North Carolina has 16 electoral votes, and I mean, I'd be hard pressed to find that Trump's not winning North Carolina. Just because
yeah,
he won it last time, he won it the time before. I know it's gotten closer and closer each of the last couple times around. The guy who he just endorsed for governor there, turns out his like he was involved in some real like crazy chat rooms of like
you're good.
really out there stuff. But based off what we have right now, it would show a Trump victory. Uh, do you find that to be accurate, or should we leave North Carolina blank right now?
No, that's accurate.
I mean, all else considered, well, let me actually see. So let's say we give the rest to Harris, which I do think she wins New Mexico pretty handedly. New Mexico is only 5 electoral votes, which is a little, it doesn't help a whole lot, but at the same time, when you're considering how close this election is going to be, I do think just off recent trends, she probably does take these two states as well. I mean, but even then, too little, too late, because it would be 268, 270. But do you see those states? I mean, recently Trump's been looking pretty good in Wisconsin. He barely lost it last time.
Yeah,
Michigan's kind of a direct coin toss. Arizona's a straight up coin toss. Nevada and New Mexico, they can go either way. New Mexico's usually Democrat, Nevada kind of the same. But, you know, based off the way momentum's been, I mean, I think Trump won the moment he got shot the first time.
yeah.
Like that pretty much won him the election. I think some of the people that were very much anti-Trump were like, ooh, let's like some of the ones that were more towards the middle and just didn't like Donald Trump were like, ooh, let's take a step back. Do you find that? What do you think about how this election cycle has gone? Campaign wise, who do you think's run the stronger campaign?
I mean, I would say Trump.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
just from the commercials I've seen, I'd say Trump's running the better campaign, but I don't know. I just think the Kamala commercials are pretty outrageous, but
yeah, it's definitely a weird like tone difference between the two of them. Is what I've noticed. Like the Donald Trump commercials, because they're on all the time when you watch football, which sucks because you want to watch football to get away from it all. Like you want to watch sports to just watch sports. But every other ad I've been watching on football is like either a Harris or a Trump commercial. But I've noticed that the
yeah.
tones for the Trump commercials are significantly more positive outlook than the Harris ones. And I'm not sure why that is. It's an interesting tone choice, but the Harris ones are like, here's why Trump's evil, and then Trump's like, well, here's why we're gonna bring back the American spirit, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Just the dichotomy of it all. VP picks. Who do you think was a stronger VP pick, Vance or Walls?
Oh, Vance, 100%. I don't even know who the other guy is, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy one. Yeah, the other guy's kind of an oddball, but
Yeah,
VPs at the end of the day, as much as we'd like to think they matter, don't really matter. As much as that sounds terrible to say, but it is what it is.
yeah.
So there you have it. You want to leave it as is, or do you want to legit figure out Wisconsin, Michigan, the other ones?
I mean, that's up to you. I don't know much about those states, so
I mean, I would say this is pretty accurate. I could see maybe like I don't know. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like Arizona goes this way. Um, I'm thinking something like this
Mhm.
is probably how it's gonna look. I think Michigan probably stays with Harris. Wisconsin has been shifted towards Trump a little more. Michigan's been shifting towards Harris. Nevada, the tough part with early voting is like Trump's up big, like not big, but he's up in the early voting. But then it's like, well, those people aren't voting on election day, so you kind of have to guess whether you're gonna see, not as many Trump supporters came out because they already voted, or and that means Harris is gonna get more votes, or if the early voters are the same early voters that have always been going and have now flipped their vote. So it's kind of tough to
Yeah.
say. But anyways, let's stop talking about politics. Diamond D, you're the college football expert in the house. Let's talk about last week's results.
The AP rankings came out today, but those don't really matter anymore.
Yeah, because the college football playoff rankings come out on Tuesday.
Hmm.
Diamond D, what's your 12 looking like right now? What's your field of 12?
I mean, based off my rankings this week, it would be one Oregon, two Georgia, three Miami, four BYU, five Ohio State, six Texas, seven Indiana, eight Notre Dame, I think. I don't know, eight would probably be Penn State, I guess. Nine would be Notre Dame. Um, and Tennessee's in there. And then Boise State and SMU are in there. But SMU's not going to be in there, I
No,
don't think.
this is your personal rankings.
That's my personal rankings, but if I had to guess what the committee's going to do on Tuesday, I'd say they'll have Alabama at 11, and then Boise State will be 12. And then the other 10 teams I said will be in the top 10.
Yeah. I mean,
But, I mean, the top four is pretty obvious right now. It's going to be Oregon, Georgia, Miami, and BYU.
oh, easy. A lot of these teams play each other. Do you think that could potentially raise the non-conference representative, which is likely going to be Boise State right now, with the way they're playing ball? Because they just look unbeatable in their conference. I mean, it's
I
like,
mean, I would say maybe, but I feel like it'd have to be BYU who would have to drop a game or two for them to get to the top four, which is probably not going to happen. But then again, say BYU doesn't win their conference championship game, then things would be different.
yeah, not so much not before as just be have a home playoff game. Could
Uh,
they get like the home playoff game would be what everyone 1 through 6 would get a
no,
home game.
I think it would be.
So could you see them getting into the 6 spot or the 5 spot?
I'm pretty sure 4 or 5 through 7 would get home game. I don't. I think the quarterfinals is neutral site.
Oh, it is.
I think the only time it's at the higher seed site is the first round games. I don't know if I'm right on that, but
Let's see.
so I'm pretty sure it's gonna be 5 through 8 will be home games. I don't know though. I might be wrong. It might not be neutral site until
Yeah, because I would think that they would
March.
let 1 through 4,
Yeah, get a home
one
game.
through four get a home game too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The four highest ranked conference Okay, so the four highest ranked conference champions. So like BYU goes undefeated. Doesn't matter. They lose in the conference championship. The
Well,
team that beats them.
we'll get. Yeah, we'll be. Well, it'll all depend on what Boise State. If Boise State wins out and say BYU loses to a team like um, Kansas State or even Colorado or even Iowa State, I mean Boise State would probably be the 4 seed.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. First round will take place at the home field of the higher seeded team or another site designated by the higher seed program. So the higher seed program. I mean, why would you not choose to just play it at your home stadium? That rule doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Wait, so they choose?
Yeah, you can either have it at your home field or choose a site.
Hmm.
So why would you choose this neutral site? absolutely you're playing at your home field.
Yeah.
Um,
Is that for the? Okay.
yeah, and I guess the quarterfinals is the bowl games. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't
So
know about that one. I think it'd be more fun if I don't know. I feel like it'd be awesome if they did home games until the championship, but
treat it like
or
the
just
NFL.
or
That
just
would
home
be.
games or just home games in general. I don't know.
I mean, this is a step in the right direction for the play. I think home games in general until the semifinals isn't a terrible idea either. It just doesn't make much sense to me that you come in first through fourth. Okay, I don't know who this guy is talking. I'm gonna get off him.
Yeah, like just say Oregon. I mean, say Oregon goes like 13-0. I mean, I feel like at that point they would earn at least one home game. But
Yeah.
just
Um.
playing at Oregon is a whole different atmosphere too. So
Yeah.
it
No.
it changes things.
I know, but it just feels weird to reward 5, 6, 7, and 8, give them a home game in the playoffs, and not
Yeah,
give 1, 2, 3, and 4. Something feels off about that.
yeah. But yeah, the SEC. I mean, the SEC teams could beat themselves. I don't know though. I mean, if Bama loses another game, they have to be done. And then LSU's in the same boat. Ole Miss and A&M, they both have to win out at this point. So, and then you got Georgia who has one loss and Texas who have one loss. So the SEC, there's no undefeated teams in the conference. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Oh yeah, no. Um.
But I did see it on the playoff predictor. I saw that if Georgia loses, say Georgia goes 9-3, I saw a thing that said they would still have a 70% chance to get in. So I think Georgia's probably the one team that could lose 3 games.
Really.
Which is kind of crazy. But, well, they'd have to lose to Ole Miss and Tennessee, I guess. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
guess.
mean, I don't think they're not going to lose 3 games. I don't think, but
No, I mean the way Beck's playing, would it be shocking if they lost 3 games? No, but that would require what they have 4 games left, so losing 3 of the next 4.
mm-hmm.
That wouldn't make. That's not happening. Let's be real.
Yeah,
But it's gonna be exciting. You know, it's crazy to think that that's not that far away.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I think let's just go back. Go back. Oh, whoops! I went too far back. It was on this link. I really hope the video wasn't playing in the background on here, like that audio got picked up. Maybe it wasn't on here. What the heck? I mean, first round December 20th and 21st.
Mm-hmm.
So just over a month away. That's pretty nuts. How quickly time goes. But
basketball's starting tomorrow, so a lot going on right now.
college basketball starts tomorrow. Who's your preseason way too early choice to win it?
Um, I'm gonna say Gonzaga because I'm rooting for them, and they're really good this year. So
Fair enough. Did I hear correctly they're joining the Pac-12?
yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a football team too. So
Interesting.
I don't know though. I mean, they're definitely joining. I don't know if they're just joining for basketball though.
They could just be joining for basketball, but
But it's still a good move for them
oh yeah.
to get out. I mean, the West Coast Conference blows, so
Yeah, because their biggest competition is St. Mary's every year.
yeah. I mean, it's the same 2 teams every year, so
It's
it's pretty dumb.
it's
But
Gonzaga, St. Mary, but St. Mary's isn't moving, or are they? Are they joining the Mountain West?
I don't know. I
Oh,
honestly don't know.
oh well. Anyways, today in NFL news, since we haven't really talked pro football in a while, yeah, I mean, cause our predictions for each game to game, were so bad, but the Buffalo Bills look like they pretty much locked up a playoff spot already, just because of how bad their division is.
Yeah, nah, it's that division's over. If you
Yeah,
ask me.
I mean they're now what the Dolphins are 2-6 now. They're seven. The Bills are 7-2, and the Jets are 3-6. So, but they hold tiebreakers over both those teams now. The Patriots have 2 wins. They lost to the Titans in overtime. for the most part, some of the playoff positions are like not leaving much to the imagination. Pretty much everything's already decided besides the wild card spots, at least for now. Because
Wild
even
card in the AFC is going to be pretty interesting.
wild card in the AFC is going to be interesting, but you look at teams that are winning the division, like the Bills ran away with theirs, the Texans ran away with theirs, Chiefs could, I mean, very low chance they lose theirs, but when you're undefeated at this point in the year, kind of hard to suddenly lose a grasp. I mean, they were 3 games ahead of the other teams.
Yeah, I mean, if they play the Broncos next week, if they win that game, I'd say it's just about over.
Yeah, if they win, if they
Chargers,
yeah.
I don't see the Chargers winning more than like 10 games, to be
Hmm.
honest.
Well, that compounded with the Chiefs already beat the Chargers once, I think.
Yeah,
Just
that's
kind of
true. Mm,
adds to it all. Like that divisional round tiebreaker stuff matters, or not divisional in division record matters. Like that's what basically some of these teams, like the Texans, have an edge over the other teams because they beat the Colts twice, and I think they beat the Jaguars already. And I don't
yeah,
think they've played the Titans yet. But when you go 3-0 in your division already, like you hold a tiebreaker over 2 teams, and then the third team you haven't played yet, but still they have to win both games essentially to crawl back into it. It basically locks it up. The
yeah.
North, the Steelers versus Ravens race is going to be interesting.
If the Bengals can beat the Ravens next week, I mean, they could put themselves kind of back in the conversation. But
Yeah,
the Bengals at this point have to. I mean, if they want to have a chance at the division, they probably have to win out.
they would have to win out,
I mean, I
especially
would say
against the division. But in terms of wild card, they're not in a terrible spot
nah, not at all.
because wild card right now would be what it would be.
Chargers,
Yeah,
Broncos, and Colts. I think. Yeah,
it probably is the Colts. Yeah.
Colts are 4-4. So
And the Colts are playing the Vikings right now, and Sam Darnold's really doing everything he can to help the Colts out. That's for sure, because he just threw a lame duck into the end zone for an
Vikings are
interception.
one of those teams that I could see end up going like 8-9
Oh yeah,
after start. Although their schedule's pretty easy. I mean, they got Jaguars, Titans, Bears. I mean,
oh yeah.
those are all very winnable games,
Hmm.
especially if they win this week. But the Lions are looking pretty insane right now. So
Yeah, they picked up a big win today against the Packers. Um, it doesn't quite secure their spot yet, but I mean they're straight trouncing everybody they play, which is kind of crazy.
yeah,
That because it doesn't on paper they're not that good of a team, but
mm.
they're just beating the crap out of everybody.
Oh yeah. Also about the Texans, they got injury issues with their wide receivers right now. So
Yeah,
I mean, I don't see them losing the division, but say the Colts start stringing some wins together. I mean, Texans got to play the Lions next week.
yeah.
That's my loss. I mean, they'll probably beat the Cowboys, but
Because the Colts are basically 3 games behind because the Colts already lost
yeah,
to the Texans twice.
uh,
Partly on mostly Anthony Richardson's fault. I mean, I get he was the fall guy, but you got to do better than like he was 9 for 31 or something ridiculous like that. It's it's kind of crazy, man. His stat lines, but NFC overall is a little more interesting just because that West is up for anybody. The Seahawks totally choked one away to the Rams today.
yeah. No, it's Seahawks season's falling apart real quick.
Yeah. Did the Cardinals win or did the Bears win?
The Cardinals blew out the Bears.
Okay, so I think the Cardinals are winning.
The Bears are starting to slip away.
So I think the Cardinals are winning that division right now, but that's far from over that one. The North is have been losing and Packers losing to the Lions today doesn't help, but that one's still pretty close. But hard to see the Lions. I mean, it's still early for that one, so it's anyone's game. But
Yeah,
the East is either going to be Washington or Philly, and then
yeah,
the last division, the only one that's completely like ran away with right now is the South. Like Atlanta's getting 2 wins against their next biggest competition.
Yeah, Tampa's dealing with injuries as well, so
Tampa dealing with injuries, and then they already beat Tampa twice, so it's another case of Tampa would have to pick up like 3 games from out of
and
nowhere.
the Saints fall off. Holy crap!
What? I mean, I
That's
dare.
7 straight losses, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Seven.
2-0, and then 7 straight losses. And today I lost to a Panthers team that's an absolute shambles.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's insane.
that has to be, where does that rank among the worst losses this year from any team?
I mean, it's definitely up there. But at this point, if you're the New Orleans Saints, you tank. You're not playing for anything anymore because there's too many. I mean, even the Cowboys, I would say, they don't really have a shot at the playoffs right now because the wild card, you got 3 teams who have at least 5 wins.
The wild card is crowded because you have
You got
all those teams
Minnesota
in
five and two.
you have all those teams in the West that are hovering at 500. Then you have whoever loses, like basically one of either Eagles or Washington is going to be the division, unless the Cowboys have a miraculous turnaround and win all
Yeah.
their division games that they have left. It's either going to be Philly or Washington. One wins the division, one's a wild card. So
Mhm.
that takes up a spot
Yeah,
because
and
when
then you got the North has 3 really good teams. So
yeah, and then one
there's
that's
Chicago, who's not that bad.
Chicago's not that bad. They're hovering in there. So that's basically 3, 6, 7 teams that are sitting ahead of the Cowboys right now.
And the Cowboys play the Eagles, Texans, and Washington in their next 3 games. So I mean, there's a chance we could see them at 3-8.
Yeah, they're gonna have to beat. CD Lamb's injury hurts. Dak Prescott's injury does not hurt as much.
I mean, it doesn't really hurt us. I mean, it hurts our chances of doing anything because I mean, we got Cooper Rush playing. I mean, what's Cooper Rush gonna do? But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing because Prescott's just awful. But
Hmm. Yeah, he's
at
having.
this point, if I'm the Cowboys, I might just give up on the season to be honest.
Yeah,
I
and
don't know.
it's great for a guy who you just gave a what was his contract? 5 years, 60 million a year, or something crazy like that, or
He's making six. He's making around 60 million.
that is
But yeah.
a terrible contract, but
Mm-hmm.
that's besides the point. Anyways, Diamond D, that was fun. That was our, I mean, I would say objectively, the part about politics. I mean, you can tell in our tones that we're more bored than we usually are when we have a Teach podcast.
Yeah.
But it was still good to hop on, talk it out. It feels obligatory, given everything, and now we can just put it in the past and not have to worry about it. Especially because Tuesday's coming up quick. And then after that, it's done, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. Agreed.
But all right, man. Diamond D, any final thoughts before we take off for the evening?
Go vote, guys. Unless you don't want to.
Yeah.
Go vote, I guess.
Oh my God, that's always funny, man. When people are like, advertise like, yeah, go vote, and it's like, oh, I'm voting for this person. It's like, what the hell? Don't vote for that person. Don't go
Yeah,
vote.
yeah. Here, just go vote for whoever you want to.
Yeah, like go vote for whoever you want. We don't care.
I mean, if you tell us, we'll care, but just don't tell us.
Yeah, just don't. Just keep it to yourself. If someone asks who you vote for, everyone who's been asking who I vote for, I just tell like a dumb joke, like, oh, I voted for both.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
I felt bad. I couldn't pick one, so I voted for them
Yeah,
both.
just keep it to yourself, you know?
Yeah, keep it to yourself. But all right, no contest for a hot dog this week. The teach was sick and didn't feel like joining. But we got Dortmund, we got Diamond D. Um, we'll have to come up with a. Please like, comment, subscribe, comment what you want us to talk about next, and y'all have a great rest of your day. Of course, bye.